I have a small clip to break down today. It's kind of depressing, actually, because we've heard nothing but Vladimir Putin is a tyrant, he's evil, he's a murderer, he's a dictator, he's ex-KGB, so we can't be trusted, all of this stuff, and it's true. But what makes this clip so depressing is that he roasted our country and was 100% correct in his analysis of it. Which means Vladimir Putin had the high ground morally over the United States of America. While we call him all these things, he still is able to insult us and be correct. So let's listen to his video. Again, I know what he's going to say, but I'm going to give gaps here so that we can dissect what he's saying about this country.
Institution of family, their cult from historical identity, and various perversions with regard to children up to pedophilia are accepted as the new norm.
Family.
My name is Amber Mum. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a member of the St. Cloud Hive of the Parents and Allies of Trans Youth, the Transgender Movement for Liberation, and a member of the Tea Time Support Group run by the Aliveness Project. I am also a proud transgender woman, but more importantly, I am the mother of two wonderful transgender and gender expansive children. I drove down from St. Cloud to show my support for House File 146 and thank Representative Finke for introducing such an important and life-saving bill to protect trans children and their families at such a critical time for us. As you may be aware, there's a torrent of damaging, ill-informed, and outright malicious legislation being introduced across the country, targeting transgender and gender-expansive people broadly, but trans children in particular. Because of this, my trans partner and I frequently discuss plans to flee the country if these targeted, hateful bills keep being introduced or passed. I never thought that it would come to this, but here we are.
Our children.
One supportive adult for an LGBTQI+ kid can make all the difference in terms of preventing suicide, in terms of them being able to navigate the world and to adulthood and leading a happy, successful, productive life. One supportive adult. I'd love if that was always the parent, but it's not always a parent. Frequently it's a teacher or a guidance counselor or some other, or coach or another school personnel. This law forbids kids essentially from talking to these people. And also it means that if you tell a teacher, the teacher has to tell the parent. And so it really is a gag rule. It's a gag law to help to prevent kids from accessing supportive adults.
In our country have been diminished, mocked, and it is impossible to argue perverted. Anything goes, even when it comes to pedophilia and kids. We allow people to go out there and make a case for the justification of sexualizing children. It's what we're doing. Out in the open, we're allowing these people a platform to talk about committing crimes. I understand we have freedom of speech, but this isn't about freedom of speech because we have people dancing in schools, sexualizing children. That is a crime. Exposure to children when it's sexual is a crime. But we're allowing it. Let's continue.
And priests are forced to recognize and officiate same-sex weddings. People can live however they want, and we in Russia have never intruded into people's private life. And we're not going to do that. But what we want to say is maybe they should take a look in the scripture, into the holy book of any great religion.
Once again, is he wrong? Are people being forced to do those kinds of marriages? Whether they agree or disagree, scripturally, it's a problem. To the point where you can't, if you have a bakery, you have to bake a cake. What is he saying that's wrong? This is something we need to face, because we always talk about how he perpetuates Russian propaganda against the United States. I don't see any lies here. I don't see any lies here. When he's talking about the West. So us, Canada, Europe. The countries that allow extreme minorities to impose their will on the majority. And it's not about their personal lives, like he said. It's about forcing us to not only accept it, but to declare that they agree. If you don't, you're a bigot. What is he saying that's wrong?
It says that the family is a union between woman and man. And these holy texts are now being increasingly doubted in the West. The Anglican Church is now considering the idea of a gender-neutral God. What can we say? God forgive them. They don't know what they're doing.
I mean, if he was holding the mic, he could drop it. We're to the point right now with perversion, especially with the children, that a Russian tyrannical dictator can tell us we need to check the scriptures and be right. He can tell us not just in one religion. He said any religion does not allow for what you guys have fallen to. And this is not an indictment on anyone or their lives. I'm saying that this man has been vilified. Rightfully so. But even he, has the ability to take our Bible and hold it over our heads, because we are not the beacon anymore. And I've never been one to care about being a laughingstock or any of that nonsense. But we do not have the moral high ground anymore. And that's a question that needs to be answered by faiths. Not just Christianity. Who else is allowing this nonsense? Because no one's speaking up. It's at a whole new level. And here we sit, being lectured by a murderous tyrant, by a dictator. And he's right. It's embarrassing.